Objective Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is the solved question paper of BHU 2020 question paper. And I hope this solved question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NetGate, GSI and other exams. Welcome to set 1. First question. What can be inferred from metamorphic facies series? A. The country where it has formed, and B. Role of partial vapor pressure of water during the formation of the rock, and C. The pressure temperature gradient during its development, and D. How the rocks unroofed. The correct option is C. The pressure temperature gradient during its development. Metamorphic facies series, it can be used to infer pressure temperature development during metamorphism. Metamorphic facies, it is defined by mineral assemblages represent specific pressure temperature conditions. A facies series, which is a sequence of a facies across a metamorphic terrain, it reflects a progressive change in the pressure temperature conditions, indicating pressure temperature time path. Next question. What is an alluvial placer deposit? A. A placer deposit formed by a stream. B. A placer deposit which is formed by wave and shore action. And C. A placer deposit formed upon hill slopes. And D. A placer deposit formed by wind. So the correct option is C. A placer deposit formed upon hill slopes. An alluvial placer deposit, it is a type of placer deposit formed by weathering and erosion of a source rock with the valuable minerals concentrated in situ on hillsides or slopes rather than being transported by water to a new location. And these deposits are characterized by the accumulation of heavy minerals like gold or tin, as lighter minerals are washed away by rainfall and wind. Next question. Which of the following mineral pairs is isostructural? A. Berlinite and quartz. B. Albite and anorthite. C. Kyanite and andalusite. And D. Graphite and diamond. So the correct option is A. Berlinite and quartz. So these are isostructural, meaning they have the same crystal structure. Both the mineralized crystallizes in the trigonal system, specifically in the space group of P3121, which is the same structure as alpha quartz. Next question. The proportion of crystals in and melt at any given pressure temperature conditions in an igneous system can be known from the choices are A. Goldschmidt rule, B. Pauling's rule, C. Lever rule, and D. Walker's rule. So the correct option is Lever rule. Lever rule can be used to determine the fraction of the liquid and solid phases for a given binary composition and temperature that is between the liquidus and the solidus line. So Lever rule is nothing but the proportion of the crystals and melt at any given pressure temperature conditions in an igneous system can be known. Next question. Clippe refers to an area of A. Eroded out portion of the nappe which exposes autochthonous rocks below the nappe, and B. Allochthonous rock mass, C. Autochthonous rock mass, and D. Remnants of a nappe separated from the main block due to erosion. So the correct option goes as a clippe refers to an area of remnants of nappe separated from main block due to erosion. A clippe, that is known as a clippen or clippes in plural. So it refers to the remnant of a thrust sheet or nappe that has been isolated by erosion and now it sits atop at a different and older rock formation. Essentially, it's a geological island of one rock layer sitting on the top of another with the connecting parts of the upper layer having been eroded away. Next question. X-sudatinite is A. Secondary leptinite maceral, B. Primary leptinite maceral, C. Vitrinite maceral, and D. None of these. X-sudatinite is a secondary leptinite maceral. This means that this secondary leptinite maceral, it has formed during the qualification process, especially from the alteration of the migration of other leptinite macerals like bitumenite or resinite. Next question. Ecdysis is a type of molting process that is common in which of the following groups? A. Trilobites, B. Echinoids, C. Brachiopods, and D. Bivalves. Ecdysis, it is the process of molting process and it is common in trilobites. And trilobites, like other arthropods, they shed their exoskeletons as they grow, and this process is called ecdysis. Next question. Which mechanism actually does operate during Bowen's continuous reaction series? A. Elemental substitution in plagioclase feldspar. B. Modification of silicate structure. C. Reaction between mineral and melt. And C. Continuous fractionation. So the correct option is elemental substitution in plagioclase feldspar. The continuous reaction series in Bowen's reaction series, it primarily involves solid solution and fractional crystallization of plagioclase feldspar as the magma cools. And this means that as the magma cools, the early formed calcium-rich plagioclase crystals, they react with the remaining melt, gradually transforming into more sodium-rich plagioclase. That means elemental substitution takes place in plagioclase feldspar. Next question. The best suited chemigraphic diagrams for representing pellitic assemblages are A. AFM diagram, B. AKF diagram, C. ACF diagram, and D. ACF and AKF diagrams. So the correct option is AFM diagram. AFM diagrams are well suited for representing pellitic assemblages, and these AFM diagrams are ternary plots that depict the relative proportions of Al2O3, FeO and MgO in pellitic rocks. So that means these are derived from shales and mudstones. The term pellitic is used when the rocks are derived from the shales and the mudstones. And these diagrams help visualize the chemical relationship between the minerals in these rocks, particularly under varying metamorphic conditions. So the best suited chemigraphic diagram for representing pellitic assemblages are AFM diagram. A is the correct option. Next question. A mineral that is trichroic must be A. B. Triclinic. B. Isotropic. C. In some orientations, it will blink from dark to light when rotated in a polarizing microscope. And D. Be isometric. A mineral that is trichroic it must be in some orientations it blink from dark to light when rotated in a polarizing microscope. A trichroic mineral will indeed appear to blink from dark to light when rotated in a polarizing microscope under certain orientations. This is because trichroism means it is a form of pleochroism. It means the mineral absorbs light differently along three crystallographic directions. When a mineral is rotated in plane polarized light, it will display different colors depending upon how its crystallographic axis they align with the direction of the polarization. So, if the mineral is trichroic, these color changes will be distinct and some orientations will result in mineral operating darker or lighter than the others. So, a mineral that is trichroic must be in some orientations it will blink from dark to light when rotated in a polarizing microscope. C is the correct option. Next question. What type of the climate is favorable for the formation of residual bauxite deposits? A. Tropical, B. Polar, C. Temperate, and D. Dry. Obviously, the tropical climate is extremely favorable for the formation of residual bauxite. These climates are typically, they experience high temperatures and abundant rainfall, which are the key factors in the process of lateritic weathering that leads to bauxite formation. Next question. Select a middle Triassic horizon of the Spiti from the following. A. Dinella shale. B. Monotis shale. C. Hedenstromia bed. D. Megalodon limestone. A middle Triassic horizon of the Spiti from the following is a Dinella shale. The Dinella shales are a distinct unit within the middle Triassic succession of the Spiti region in the Indian Himalayas, and they are characterized by the presence of the bivalve Dinella, and they are an important part of the middle Triassic sequence, which also includes other units like the Muschelkalk. Next question. Currently, the river Ganga, it builds up A. Delta, B. Estuary, C. Lagoon, and D. Barrier bar. The river Ganga, it builds up delta. The river Ganga along the Brahmaputra and the Meghna rivers, it continues to build the Ganges Delta, which is also known as the Ganges Brahmaputra Meghna Delta or the Bengal Delta. So this is the world's largest delta, which is characterized by ongoing sediment deposition and a dynamic coastal zone. Next question. Low pH conditions in sediment to pore water favors A. Silica cementation, B. Carbonate cementation, C. Clay cementation, and D. Iron cementation. Low pH conditions in sediment pore water favor silica cementation. While some reactions like the formation of hydrobasaluminite can occur under acidic conditions, the solubility of silica it increases at lower pH, making it less likely to precipitate and cement sediments. Next question. Diagenesis is a process of A. Conversion of sediments into a hard rock, B. Accumulation of sediment in a basin, C. Conversion of rock into sediment, and D. Uplift of rocks to form mountains. Diagenesis is a process of conversion of sediments into hard rock. It involves physical, chemical, and biological processes that compact and cement the sediment grains together. So A is the correct option. Next question. Which type of lithology gives rise to the development of sinkholes? The options are A. Gneiss, B. Limestone, C. Sandstone, and D. Schist. The correct option goes as B. Limestone. Sinkholes frequently form in areas with limestone bedrock because the limestone is soluble in slightly acidic water, and groundwater, which often naturally acidic or made acidic by dissolved carbon dioxide, it seeps into cracks and joins in the limestone. Next question. In thin sections of standard thickness prismatic sillimanites, they show interference color up to lower second order. What will be the order of the interference color of basal sections of sillimanite? The choices are A. Higher second order, B. Higher first order, C. Lower second order, D. Lower first order. The correct option is lower first order. In the basal sections of sillimanite, the interference colors typically range from first order yellow to second order green according to microscopic and UFRGS. Next question. Minerals in which of the following crystallographic classes are uniaxial? A. Tetragonal, B. Monoclinic, C. Orthorhombic, and D. Triclinic. The correct option is A. Tetragonal. Uniaxial minerals belong to the tetragonal and hexagonal crystallographic classes. Uniaxial minerals have only one optic axis, which means light travels differently along this axis compared to other directions within the crystal. So the tetragonal and hexagonal crystal systems naturally have this single axis of symmetry, making all the minerals in these classes uniaxial. Here the answers is given as tetragonal among the monoclinic, orthorhombic, and triclinic. So that's why A. Tetragonal is the correct option. Next question. Which of the following minerals is used for potassium in fertilizer industry? The choices are A. Gluconite, B. Potash feldspar, C. Muscovite, and D. Biotite. So the correct option goes as A. Gluconite. Gluconite is the mineral used in the fertilizer industry as a source of potassium. Gluconite is a naturally occurring mineral that is rich in potassium, making it a valuable component in many fertilizers. So it is often found in green sand, a sedimentary rock, and it can be used as a natural alternative to traditional potash fertilizers. Next question. The northernmost exposures of the east coast of India is represented by A. Raghapuram shale, B. Sri Perumbudur bed, C. Budavada sandstone, and D. Atgar sandstone. The correct option is D. Atgar sandstone. The northernmost exposures of the east coast of India are represented by Atgar sandstone. The Atgar formation, part of the upper Gondwana sequence, extends along the Mahanadi river valley, and it is considered as the northernmost extension of the east coast of upper Gondwana basin. And this formation is primarily composed of clastic sediments like conglomerate, sandstones, shales, and fireclays. These are some of the suggested books. Hope you can take a photocopy or screenshot. Thank you for your time. See you in the next video.